All right, tonight we're diving into a real clash of philosophies. We're breaking down the huge title fight between Naoya Inoue, a man they call the Monster for a very good reason, and the undefeated challenger, Alan Picasso, who came in with a game plan unlike any other.
And this was the big question, right? The puzzle everyone was trying to solve heading into this thing. You had this classic story, the super smart, strategic thinker versus an absolute force of nature. Could a brilliant mind really find a way to outmaneuver just unstoppable power?
And just look at the contrast here, it's pretty stark. On one side, you've got the Monster, Undisputed Champ, a 4-division world champion, without a doubt one of the best pound-for-pound fighters on the planet. And on the other side, Alan El Rey Picasso. Yeah, he's an undefeated challenger, ranked #1, but here's the kicker. He's also a neuroscience student. I mean, that is not a background you see every day in a world title contender.
Okay, so let's get into the first part of this breakdown, the challenger's whole approach. This wasn't just another fight, you know? It was really billed as this true test of styles, the genius taking on the monster.
I mean, you have to look at the sheer ambition of this challenger. Alan Picasso doesn't just want to be a world champion. His actual stated life goals are to win a Nobel Prize and beat the best fighter in the world. He literally went and studied neuroscience to get a better handle on the fighter's brain, and even had a final exam on the same day as a weigh-in once. That is an incredible level of dedication.
So how do you even translate neuroscience into a fight plan? Well, for Picasso, the idea wasn't just about pressure. It was about educated pressure. His whole theory was to use his intelligence and combine it with a relentless high volume of punches to try and overwhelm and outthink the champion.
Okay, so that was Picasso's game plan. A smart one, right? So, how did the monster respond? Well, to put it simply, he put on an absolute masterclass and just systematically took apart the challenger's strategy piece by piece.
And his first answer? A clinic on body punching. It was relentless, it was punishing, and it was brutally effective. This wasn't just about landing a few shots, it was a clinical dissection of his opponent's midsection, right from the opening bell. You know, the broadcast commentary really nailed it. This attack, it wasn't just physical. It was designed to break both the body and the will of the challenger. It was psychological warfare, plain and simple.
All right, Inoue's second answer? His movement. You can't hit what you can't find, right? He just refused to be a stationary target. His footwork basically turned the ring into this complex, unpredictable puzzle that Picasso just could not figure out.
The commentators described it perfectly. Fighting him was like being inside the Matrix or trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. It seemed like every single time Picasso thought he had Inoue lined up, poof, the target would vanish, only to show up again from a new, punishing angle.
And then there was the third piece of the puzzle, his mentality. This might be the scariest part. Under the brightest lights, against an undefeated guy coming for his belts, he was the calmest person in the entire building. It was the chilling composure of a true predator.
I mean, just think about that for a second. Most guys, their adrenaline is pumping. Their heart rate is through the roof. Inoue? It's like his blood pressure goes down. That's not normal. That is a weapon, and it lets him see everything and execute his plan with terrifying efficiency.
So look, your eyes could tell you who was winning. It was pretty obvious. But now let's look at the hard data. Because the numbers, they don't just back up the story. They shout it from the rooftops. So first things first, the official result. No surprises here. It was a clean sweep on the scorecards. A unanimous decision victory for Naoya Inoue. No doubt, no controversy, no room for debate.
And this is where it gets kind of crazy. Check out the CompuBox stats. Just look at the difference everywhere you look. Inoue landed more than double the jabs, way more power shots, and was so much more accurate. I mean, every single category tells the exact same story. Total domination.
And when you see it like this, as a bar chart, it's just staggering. 328 total punches landed for Inoue versus 170 for Picasso. He almost doubled his opponent's output over 12 rounds. That's not just winning a fight, that's putting on a clinic.
But you know, if you had to boil this whole fight down to just one number, it would be this one, 96. That's how many body shots Inoue landed. Every single one of those was like a deposit in the bank, just draining the energy, the will, and the entire game plan right out of his opponent. That was the foundation for the whole victory.
Okay, so what does a win like this actually mean in the grand scheme of things? This wasn't just another notch in the win column for Naoya Inoue.
No, this was a statement. This was one of those nights that really cements a legacy.
So let's put it all into perspective. He's still the undisputed champ, of course, but he also moved to an insane 27 wins and 0 losses in world title fights. And get this, he tied a record set by the legendary Larry Holmes by making 4 defenses of the super prestigious Ring magazine title in a single calendar year. That is just historic stuff.
And at the end of the day, there's really only one way to describe what we all saw, and the commentary team said it best. They and we had just witnessed something truly, truly special. This was an all-time great talent at the absolute peak of his powers. And that leaves us all with the exact same question the commentators were asking at the end of the broadcast. After a performance like that, a true masterclass, you really have to ask yourself, pound for pound, is there anyone in the world right now who is better than Naoya Inoue?